morning, everyone. It's exciting to be here in Berlin this morning amongst founders. Can I just ask one question? So how many of you had ever heard of Picnic before entering this room? Not too bad, there's a few. We're world famous in noise. You know noise? Not too far from Düsseldorf. But I'm excited there's a little nascent awareness here in Berlin as well, and very happy to be here. I'm here to tell you a bit more about the, let's say, the founding story of Picnic. And the founding story of Picnic started about 5 years ago. And it started with the observation, very simple observation, that we're buying more and more online. We're buying books, electronics, fashion, travel, all that kind of stuff online. But not food. You know, in all these other categories, about 30% or so of the stuff that's bought in those categories is bought online. In food, it's 1%. Same in Germany. Some countries are a little higher, but it's roughly that. So there's a huge difference between what we buy in, let's say, non-food online and what we buy in food online. And obviously, the problem is different, but that's the challenge that we started looking at. And we had no idea. We're not supermarket people. We're technology people that looked with a sort of open mind into a new sector. And the way we started looking at supermarkets is slightly different than you would maybe do if you're inside the supermarket sector. Well, first of all, supermarket sector is huge. It's as large as all the other sectors, so books, fashion, electronics, travel, everything combined is the same value as food, because we all have to eat, and we all go to the supermarket a few times a week. And it is an interesting system. The system was developed in the end of the 60s, early 70s, as a self-service supermarket model. And before that, you had other kind of models. This is the self-service supermarket model. And it is the most widely adopted and most efficient distribution system to get items from a producer or from producers to consumers. And we do that through stores. So it's a super successful retail format, maybe the most successful retail format that was ever invented. But in a way, it's also a remarkable format. Because somehow, the inventors of the self-service supermarket have taught us to take our own car, to drive to a warehouse that we then call a store. And in that warehouse, we just go through a labyrinth multiple times a week. We pick our own goods. We wait in line until we're allowed to pay. We carry them to our own cars and bring them back home. And yet, if you ask anyone, are you happy? Most people say, yeah, I'm okay, nothing wrong. So we thought, looking from another side at this kind of industry, we thought, in 50 years, nothing has changed. So very successful, but in 50 years, nothing has changed. Wouldn't there be something else possible at the state of technology we are today? And we also started looking a little deeper, digging a little deeper into the food sector when we got interested in this, say, underserved, hugely underserved, large space. And we discovered that there's also a few elements of the supermarket system that are not so beautiful. And one of them, obviously, is the massive amount of food waste. And so it is, if you walk into a supermarket 5 minutes before closing, you'll still find bread and meat and other stuff on the shelves that will be thrown away just after you leave the store. And since the industry is so large, the percentages are small, but the absolute amounts are huge. And it is a predictive kind of supply chain. Everybody needs to predict, every store owner needs to predict how many bread or barbecue meat he needs to put at a specific store for tomorrow. And even if you have the most fantastic prediction models, you can never be perfect. So there is still a huge amount of food waste into that system. And then we're all driving with our own, usually carbon emission vehicles, multiple times a week to these supermarkets, which obviously is also not ideal for the climate type situation. Now, there's a bit of unfair trade, and with unfair trade we mean it's a very concentrated business. There's usually, in any country, like here in Germany, there's 4 or 5 very large operators, and if you invent a great new, maybe local product, then it's not easy to get on the shelves of Rewe, Edeka, or Lidl, or anything else. And obviously, last but not least, we all spend a huge amount of time in supermarkets. About 2 hours a week, we're doing factory work. 2 hours a week, we're going through supermarkets and do the order picking and so on and so forth. There might be a better spend of that time for anyone, but certainly for busy families with young children. So we think there's big, interesting societal problems to be solved, possibly with technology. This is how we got interested. And while we got interested, we also thought back of something that existed way before the supermarket. The milkman. In any country in the world had milkmen. And milkmen were very nice, friendly people with a very limited assortment, milk, butter, eggs, a few other things. And they were competed away in the 70s by supermarkets with much larger assortments and lower prices, while we all got cars and refrigerators and so on. But everyone you speak to loved the service of the milkman. So we wondered if there wouldn't be a possibility for, let's say, a Milkman 2.0 based on today's type technology. And we developed a system that is a replacement of your supermarket distribution system that's much smarter, cleaner, and greener. It is smarter because we obviously use a mobile phone, so we don't have a website. The store is always in your pocket, and we can provide you services that nobody else can provide you because we know location, so you can follow, for example, the deliveries exactly on your phone. It is a cleaner system because we developed entirely new vehicles. We developed vehicles that did not exist. It took us kind of 3 years. It's a very long program, but we did develop electrical vehicles that do a milkman-type round, so do a more efficient round than the traditional delivery services are doing, and obviously have no carbon-type emissions, and you don't have to drive to the stores. And then lastly, we developed large, automated green fulfillment centers that reduce food waste by about 70%. So now we have redesigned the entire supply chain for supermarkets end-to-end with, let's say, today's type technology. And on the basis of that, we could develop a consumer proposition that is all your groceries for the lowest price, free to your door, which obviously is a very attractive proposition compared to going to the store. So now, no longer this is like a premium proposition for the happy few, but it is something that every teacher, nurse, fireman, policeman, anybody can afford to do. So we get a level playing field with a large incumbents. And then something completely new emerges. Just to highlight you a little bit of this story, so we're developing lots of software and technology, and it's hard to visualize behind nerds behind a computer and so on. But we, as I said, developed also vehicles and factories and stuff like that, and it's just hardware and it's engineering and it's hardcore work. So this is a very funny and nice combination. Here, this is the first version. You're now in version 3 of our vehicle, but this is the first little ugly version of our small, efficient vehicle. These vehicles are 3 times as efficient in deliveries than any other vehicle that exists. Let me see if this works. Yeah, I'll show you. I'll talk a little bit over it, but this is a little movie that explains a little bit how Picnic works, for the consumer. Obviously, you order on your mobile phone. And it goes through our fulfillment centers, which are directly connected to producers. Therefore, the goods that we sell are fresher. The supply chain is shorter. This is how an early version of our fulfillment center looked like. It goes into big trucks to a local hub in a city, where these small electrical vans that can only do 50 kilometers an hour. So they're small, purposely designed electrical vans for distribution in inner cities, go and distribute it into neighborhoods. Like the milkman used to do in many ways. But now obviously we do not only have milk, butter and eggs, but we have the entire range of a large-scale supermarket. And these vehicles are obviously completely internet connected, and all the technology that you can use is applied to them. But ultimately, it makes online groceries, online supermarket stuff accessible for everyone, for a mass market. And the market is huge. In Germany alone, the market is about 200 billion. So it's a massive, massive market. And in about 15 years, so from 2000 to now, or 2002 to now, the incumbent supermarkets developed all kinds of propositions, like Bringmeister and also other propositions, and they were able to capture 1% of the, let's say, 200 billion type market. Keep that in mind. I'll come back to that. So we have we use the technology like you can see on Uber and others that you can track. So we not only have time windows, but we tell you until the minute when we come, because we have this bus line Milkman type system. So we tell you, we will be with you at 4:10, and every day on a fixed time. And if you still need to walk the dog, you can see where we are, and you can go 5 minutes out, and there's no more waiting. Huge consumer need. Other consumer need. Paying extra for the same kind of services nobody likes. So we've taken that out too. So all your groceries for the lowest price, free to your door. Now, we launched this initially in 2015, end of 2015, in Holland in one city, called Amersfoort. Also a huge, like noise type city. We very clearly told everyone that we were launching in one city. Yet this is what happened on day one. They were downloading the app all over Holland. There was a massive amount of downloads. And it's very interesting to see this. While everybody says, I'm reasonably happy with my supermarket, so, what's the point? If you introduce something meaningful news, then you activate a whole sort of set of new motivations. It's a little bit similar to what happened to, way back, like 10 years back, when you would ask people, with all their Nokia phones, do you need email on your phone? Or video? No, I'm totally okay. I'm very, very happy. There's a very useful Nokia phone, and they're very, very useful, until you get a real alternative. That's exactly what's happening. And it became a massive media storm in Holland. On day one, there were like 5 camera crews outside, and there was huge media coverage. This is one of the largest TV shows on prime time, and we hadn't sold anything. It was the first day. And the other 2 are large Dutch incumbents, like Rewe, Edeka kind of operators. And all of a sudden, in the minds of people, there existed 3 supermarkets. Picnic was there. And sort of this kind of mindset, but the media doesn't pick it up just because we do very smart PR or so. It picks it up because there's something meaningful, new into this. And they'd like to talk about that. Then something else happened, and that has nothing to do with the system. So we have a super efficient system, a much more efficient distribution system for anything in home delivery than existed today. But on top of that, people started loving the brand. And why did they start loving the brand? Is because they fall in love with our runners. And our runners are our delivery boys and girls, as we call them. Because we treat them completely different, opposite to what typical parcel delivery operators do. They look at them as a cost structure and try to get the cheapest person to your door with the quickest handover. And we look at them as hospitality. We do auditions. We want to have, the nicest possible friendly people at the door. And obviously that works. People love service. How would you like it? If you get a person that delivers the packages to you in a super friendly way and is always nice to you. Everybody likes that, and nobody likes 10 delivery people at the door in a week. So there's a very interesting mechanism going on. Now, there are loads of those pictures, and it became clear to us in this initial city that we had struck a chord, that we were onto something. There was a unique sense of community going on in little neighborhoods, or small neighborhoods, or large, whatever. The picnic man started playing a role. Very similar, or not dissimilar, to what the Milkman used to do. These pictures I love too, children waiting for their favorite sort of picnic kind of delivery. And this is what happened in terms of numbers. Those, to me, are striking. So before we existed, 1% of the people were buying online food. In the cities that we operate, and this is a few lines from Holland, where we were longest, so the more mature cities, now 50%, 50, of all the households in a city sign up to Picnic. Yeah, and huge amounts, about 20%, are buying too. So this is a complete difference from what existed before. This is a little bit the Nokia iPhone kind of thing. You know, it's not just a next generation. It's not just a little bit better version of what we already had. It is, 10x better than what we had before. And then, on the basis of this success, we thought, wouldn't it be interesting to find out if something like this would work, across countries, across cultures? Would it also work in Germany? And we started a secret pilot. We called it Sprinter. So we took our vehicles, we made them white again, and we put on Sprinter logos because we wanted to have an unbiased kind of test. And yes, here we go. And we need to recruit customers. And we started all over again, very basic. So this was in Neuss, Karst, to suburban towns close to Düsseldorf. And we started to do town halls, or Abend events, as they were called here. And meaning, us on stage and saying, hi, I'm Joris. We have this new service, Picnic. It works like this. Are you interested? And so on and so forth. And we built our small first set of few hundred type customers. And we did little marketing kind of things, like going to the Christmas markets and the football clubs and all sorts of small events to get something like this going. So I'm just showing you this, that a fire that lights up very large in the end, always starts in a very small way. We found our first local products. So we not only sell the stuff that you can buy in Edeka, Rewe, and so on, but we also sell directly sourced great products from local producers. So we provide access for a whole new community of growers, producers, to large sets of consumers. There's a little movie highlighting a bit of the consumer reactions in Germany.
Ja, die Lebensmittel, die man bestellt, die sind auch wirklich super frisch.
Was ich auch total cool finde, dass er zum Beispiel mit Büsch kooperiert.
Ja, also wir sind mit 4 Personen und einem Hund und ich bestelle grundsätzlich alles da.
Also bis jetzt habe ich eigentlich alles gefunden im Sortiment.
Da ich bei den Produkten auch gerne auf Umweltfreundlichkeit achte, finde ich es auch sehr gut, dass die Elektromobile als Lieferfahrzeuge ausgewählt wurden von Picnic und auch, dass wir die benutzten Plastiktüten zurückgeben können.
Ich kann über die App gucken, welcher Tag, welche Uhrzeit mir in der Woche prima passt.
Da kann man ja den Lieferanten verfolgen und man sieht genau, wie viele Minuten das noch dauert.
Man kann vorher noch mal kurz mit dem Hund raus und Punkt genau klingelt's.
Und ich habe in maximal 4 Minuten meine ganzen Sachen weggeräumt.
Die beste Erfahrung, die ich mit Picnic habe, ist die Pünktlichkeit und dass ich immer die Ware so bekomme, wie ich sie selber aussuchen würde.
Das Preis-Leistungs-Verhältnis finde ich super.
Also der ganze Haushalt ist von den Runnern und von Picnic begeistert.
Weil so Einkaufen einfach Spaß macht. Das ist Einkaufen 2.0.
Ich liebe Picnic. Mehr kann ich dazu nicht sagen.
All ages, across all income groups. We have the same kind of market share across all income groups, all age groups. So it's a very, very interesting kind of concept. We officially launched, let's see if I can get back. Yeah, we officially launched in Germany in April, so it's still very young, early days. We're in one city. We need to grow it going forward. But I can tell you that the growth lines and the adoption and the enthusiasm and the passion looks exactly similar to what we've seen in Holland. So it takes time, we build it out, but it's going to be a super exciting journey. And like in Holland, we got significant press coverage here as well. Funny enough, and likely, what we love is that the Milkman type concept was picked up quite well. And maybe if you don't live in the area, you've seen a little bit less of the press coverage. But there's been, also, many camera crews out, so on and so forth. So we're at the very, very beginning of a fantastic long journey. Now, a few more things to finish it off, so you get a bit of the impression. Now, I told you customers love it. If you do research, they tell you they love it. This is maybe numbers-wise, maybe one of the most impressive numbers. So all other companies in any country have been trying for 15 years, got to 1% market share. We achieve in 1-2 years 5%, meaning 5 times the market goes 5 times, and we own about 80% of that market. So we know we're onto something, but we also know that there's huge amounts of things to do. And there's many, many challenging problems in scaling this and going to all sorts of regions and all sorts of problems. So I would love to invite any of you with a great entrepreneurial spirit that want to join, the Picnic movement, if you want. Please, show up and let us know. We did a pretty large funding round on the basis of these results a year ago, over 100 million, which is one of the largest Series B rounds that's ever been done at this stage. So we have enough fuel on board, I would say, to rocket this thing a bit further, and we're very excited to do that. And last but not least, if you look at this into numbers and gives you a little bit of perspective, 2015 and 2018, so 2.5 years now, we moved from 1 to 60 cities, from 10 vehicles. We initially had only 5 in our initial city, and we built all these vehicles ourselves, so we need factories to manufacture them, to about 800, and we're on 2,000 people, and we're going to like a 200 million revenue run rate. So it's been an amazing adventure. We had never thought ourselves that it would go this way. When we started this, was like, could we possibly invent the supermarket 2.0? Could we invent something similar to that? And that actually led to this. I'm going to finish it, otherwise I'm going to get killed too long here. But I hope you enjoyed it. Come and join us. Thank you.